All right, today we're kicking off a proper investigation. Our target? Petricor, the cultural phenomenon whose creators are, well, they're basically a walking, talking contradiction. The more you listen, the less you feel like you actually know who they are. So what we're going to do is dig into all the lore, the myths, and yeah, the straight-up lies to try and find some answers. You ready? Let's get into it.
So let's start with this gem from one of their own songs, Solo los capullos no escuchan Petricor, which, for those of you who don't speak Spanish, basically means only assholes don't listen to Petricor. I mean, that just perfectly sums up the whole vibe, right? It's chaotic, it's totally self-aware, and honestly, a little aggressive. This isn't just a show, it's a dare, and we're taking it.
So, yeah, our mission here is pretty straightforward. We're going to peel back all these layers of myth, rumor, and straight-up surrealism to get to the bottom of who these three key people really are: Inma, Guillermo, and of course their long-suffering collaborator, Óscar Sánchez. So here's the game plan. We'll start with the Petricor enigma itself, then we'll focus on our main person of interest, Óscar Sánchez. From there, we'll get to the main subjects, Inma and Guillermo. We'll dive into a very, let's call it creative origin story. And finally, we'll see if we can land this plane and make any sense of what might just be a mystery with no solution. Okay, so first up, Óscar Sánchez. You know, every good investigation needs a guy on the inside. And Óscar's constant presence, and his even more constant complaining, that's the first thread we can really pull on.
I mean, just look at this resume. It is completely absurd. This guy isn't just a contributor. He's a time traveler, a Hollywood correspondent, a music chart host, a Christmas concert presenter, a flamenco gala MC, and a Disney musicals expert. It's just a whole series of bizarre, surreal gigs.
And this right here is Exhibit A in the case of Óscar Sánchez. It's a direct quote from the man himself. Inma and Guillermo pay me $150 for each section I do. You can just feel the exhaustion in that sentence. So for all that, for all these crazy, demanding jobs, what does he get paid?
150 euros. That's it. Seriously. For traveling through time, for dealing with Hollywood celebrities, for hosting entire galas. That one number tells you everything you need to know about where he stands in the Petricor hierarchy, right? Always overworked and just comically underpaid.
Okay, now for the main event, Inma and Guillermo. So if Óscar was our way in, these two, they're the labyrinth, the whole puzzle. It feels like every single piece of info we have on them just immediately contradicts something else.
Let's take a look at Guillermo first. So on the one hand, you have this public persona. He's handsome, he's got this incredible hair, a pelazo as they say. Basically, he's the object of everyone's desire. But then, you get the other story, the secret lore. A promiscuous ex-con who apparently became bisexual while in prison and now, for some reason, blackmails bookstore owners. So, which one is it? Who is this guy?
And believe me, the file on Infama is just as messy. So, to the public, she's this elegant, refined woman, a lover of high culture. But the secret lore, that paints a very different picture. She's a bored, super wealthy millionaire who joins a convent to find some meaning in her life, and surprise, the convent is actually a training ground for spies. And yet, you guessed it, she also blackmails bookstore owners. It seems to be their little side hustle together.
And just when you think you're getting a handle on it, bam, this little bombshell drops. This comes from a flamenco song in one of their shows, and it says, "There's a mystery with the whole subject. It's that Inma and Guillermo secretly hate each other." So, wait a minute. Their entire partnership, this friendly vibe they have on the air, it could all just be a complete act?
Okay, so with all this conflicting info flying around, where do you even start to look for the real story? Well, our investigation took a really weird turn when we stumbled on a key piece of evidence. Petricor, the musical. Yep, you heard me right. They wrote a musical about themselves. So, according to the musical, the story of Petricor doesn't kick off in some boring old radio station. Nope. It starts at the convent of Karambanchel, which, as we just learned from Inma's file, is a front for an agency of spies. Because, of course it is.
All right, so let's try to follow this plot step by step. 1. A bored millionaire, Inma, needs a purpose. 2. A promiscuous ex-con, Guillermo, is looking for redemption. 3. They just so happen to meet in a convent full of spies. 4. The head nun looks at them and comes up with the perfect solution: create a podcast. And 5. An ex-nun conveniently has a bookstore, La Fabulosa, that they can use as a recording studio. So as an origin story, I mean, it's very specific, and it is completely, utterly insane.
So at this point in our investigation, we kind of have to face facts. Every new piece of evidence, whether it's from the musical or some documentary clip, doesn't actually clear anything up. It just makes things stranger. The leads aren't leading to an answer. They're just creating more questions.
And hey, if you thought the musical was weird, just brace yourself for these other theories. There's one source that claims they're immortal beings from ancient Egypt. Another one says they were doing the show back in the prehistoric era, while literally being hunted by dinosaurs. A third theory suggests that Inma and Guillermo are just titles, passed down from generation to generation. And then there's a fourth expert who just says, nope, they're aliens. Simple as that.
You know, all of this leads our investigation to a totally new conclusion. Maybe we've been asking the wrong question this whole time. We've been so focused on who they are, when maybe the real answer is in what they've created. This isn't about a person's life story. It's about building a universe. The Petricor universe is a place where all these contradictions aren't mistakes. They're the whole point.
So what's the big takeaway from our investigation? Well, we've learned that the truth about Inma, Guillermo, and Óscar isn't some solid fact you can pin down. It's more like a cloud of hilarious, conflicting, and totally surreal stories. The only thing that's actually consistent is this incredible, chaotic world they build up, tear down, and then build all over again every single week.
And that really leaves us with one last big question. In a world that's this creative, this fun, this chaotic, does it actually matter who they really are? Or is the only thing that matters the fact that they keep creating this amazing, unsolvable mystery for all of us to enjoy?